Welcome to a new fragrance review. Today I'm going to tell you the number one fragrance there is for every color. So there's often fragrances that are classified by color. The most common ones are of course blue because it's pretty much what's popular right now. There's green also that's really common, and white. That is sometimes like called type of fragrance. I was thinking like what will be fragrance for the other color. So we're gonna go with colors that are actually not color, which is white, gray, and black as white fragrance. What I think it's the best white fragrance, and for me they are more like creamy, light, summery type of fragrance. Maybe not necessarily summery, but more often creamy, light, kind of uplifting. And I would say it's Lacoste L1212 White, which is really amazing fragrance for summer, which ironically I don't have. It's great fragrance and really in fresh, clean, kind of creamy fragrance for summer. It's really the best. As a gray fragrance, for me, gray, it will be the smell of ashes or smoke. And the first fragrance that come to my mind when I think about this as one of the as being the best, it's Meta de Oriente Oscuro by PK Perfume, and this is just a crazy fragrance. If you want something with longevity, I don't think you can ever find anything better than that. The fragrance lasts minimum 24 hours. I should eventually like give it a try, see how long it lasts. And well, I'm not sure it's such a good idea because the only reason I say at least 24 hours is because like I kind of took a shower, so I don't know if I would have lasted longer if I wouldn't have took a shower. Also, when I'm talking about my skin and not in my hair, my clothes, or anything. So in the clothes, I wouldn't be surprised if it will be calculated in weeks. But yeah, fragrance lasts for a crazy amount of time. Also, it's a really amazing fragrance and would be the best gray fragrance on the market, even though I don't think it's such a type of color, but for me, that's what it is. Now for black, what I think would be the best black fragrance is actually Oud Cuir d'Arabie. That does come in a black bottle, but it's not quite because of the color of the bottle. It's really the smell. For me, it smells like black leather and like intense black leather. Like if you would take car seat of some fancy luxury car, make it into like essential oil, and turn it into a perfume. It's really what it smells. There's also a little bit of birch and wood inside of it. The leather is really intense, almost chemical, really bold, really nice. It really defines what black perfume is to me. Now, if we go to the color wheel for blue, what I think would be the best blue fragrance, and for me, blue is the most complex type of fragrance because it kind of put two kind of fragrance together. There's aquatic fragrance that are technically blue because aquatic would be represented by blue. If you think that green represents stuff that is green, like forest, aromatic plants, leaves, stuff like that. So water, air, all those things will be represented by blue. But there's also the type of fragrance that is commonly called blue fragrance, like Bleu de Chanel or Dior Sauvage, that are not aquatic fragrance, but are still called blue. So it really put those two categories together. And if I would just put any fragrance there, I think it need to be really great in both of these categories, be better than all the other ones, at least in my opinion, to be the best blue fragrance. And what I think would be the best blue fragrance is Aqua Atlantique by Bulgari. And this fragrance is just an amazing fragrance. It smells a little bit like Dylan Blue, but if they actually did a good job to make amazing fragrance, if you think Dylan Blue is great, well, imagine how amazing Aqua Atlantique is. Sadly, it seems like no one really realized it was amazing because it's discontinued, but still, I think it's the best blue fragrance on the market, and I'd like to see something better, or at least as good, replace it. Now, green. What is the best green fragrance? And for green, I think the 80s was really the best time for green fragrance, where it was at its peak popularity with notes like pine and oak moss, which are notes that are included in fragrance that I'm gonna name, which is Corum. And I don't really often talk of Corum. It's just an amazing fragrance, really good. I would say that Polo is also a really good fragrance that kind of arrived number 2 and deserve at least an honorable mention because it's also pretty amazing. Corum is great and easily deserve the best like green fragrance note. Next color is yellow, and yellow it's kind of a weird note, weird type of fragrance. Personally, yellow would make me think of stuff like ylang ylang or jasmine. When I think of yellow fragrance, it makes me think of like old school, like ultra old school fragrance for women, like stuff in within like the 20s up to the 50s, like maybe 60s also. Yeah, 60s also. Like that kind of fragrance for me really is what's the peak of yellow fragrance. And for me, what would be the best yellow fragrance, if that's even a category that exists, at least it is for me, would be Cabochard by Guerret. This fragrance, especially old school one, the original one that got reformulated over and over. It's just an amazing fragrance with a lot of aldehyde, a lot of oak moss, a lot of leather, a lot of complex note. It was really great, fantastic fragrance. I would say the current fragrance, the current Cabochard is still really good. And if you take the fragrances that are currently in the market, I would say will still deserve that place. What's in there? I smell also Jasmin Rouge recently, and even though the bottle is red and they market it on red, for me to fit really well into that yellow type of fragrance, and I would think it deserves an honorable mention also. Now, orange. Orange is the smell for me of orange fruit. But when I think of orange, I also think about stuff like myrrh and spicy resins, oriental fragrance of the like. So it's really in between those two. I would say if I put orange as really orange the fruit, I would say the best fragrance is Eros Flame by Versace. But if I would go as orange as myrrh, technically be more amber than orange, I would say Bois Mystérieux by Guerlain. Next color, red. And red for me is really spicy, not necessarily resinous, but really spicy fragrance, like stuff like cinnamon, for example. And for this, it's really hard to pick something, but I think I took the one that really put like most emphasis on fire and intensity. There's two fragrances I'm gonna put as honorable mention. The first one is Old Spice, even though it's not really a good spicy fragrance. I think it kind of give a good idea of what red might represent in fragrance in a really soft, old school and calm way. So red is the color that represents Old Spice. So I think that's why I deserve an honorable mention. It's also a great fragrance. Second honorable mention is Men in Black by Bulgari, which is a nice spicy fragrance, some leather and some boozy notes. It's rum, but I'm not 100% sure. It's been a long time I haven't smelled the fragrance. And could have got that note like to be the best red fragrance, but I'm gonna put it for Bijan Men instead. And the reason is because it's also a spicy fragrance. There's more oak moss and aldehyde, like alongside. We could say something similar with Men in Black, which has more leather and boozy notes aside. It's not quite especially a spicy fragrance. Also, I need to say that I've never smelled Spice Bomb, so it might have the first place, but I never had the chance to smell it. So it's not gonna be there. It's gonna be Bijan Man, which has a strong note of cloves. There's also a lot of other spice in there. It's a really spicy, old school oak moss and aldehydic fragrance from the 80s. It's an extremely beast mode fragrance also, and I think it deserves the space as #1 red fragrance. Now, violet. So when I think about violet, there's nothing really that say what violet is. There's of course the note of violet, but then it's hard to say which note will really be that type of fragrance other than violet. I would say technically iris fragrance would fall into this. In the end, I have my idea which really deserve the purple, the more violet fragrance. And there's one fragrance that first come to my mind, and I think will deserve it, even though it's not really a violet fragrance. It's Tobacco and Tonka Bean by Banana Republic, which is an amazing fragrance. It's really great. And when I'm wearing a one purple shirt, and when I'm wearing that shirt, I always think about wearing this fragrance because I feel it really goes well with it. And I think this is a fragrance that deserves #1 place. Purple and violet. I mean, don't know why purple. I have a color wheel right here that says color. It's violet that it says. And actually, I think what deserve like legitimate way. It's probably like this one won first place, but it cheated his way at first place and lost his first place for one that didn't cheat it, which is Fahrenheit by Dior, which fragrance with a lot of violet and a lot of leather. If you know me, you know that I really love leather. It's just an amazing fragrance and easily deserve first place also. Finally, I'm gonna go with another color that's not there, which is brown. It's not really in the color wheel. Technically, there's pink also that was not named. Could have got with other color and all, but I'm just gonna go with brown. If you want to have a part 2, just write it in the comment. You want all those little color that I haven't named. But for brown, I think what would be the best brown fragrance, and really 2 things come in my mind as notes for brown, which is tobacco and leather, because they're more like natural leather, I would say. And it will be Cuir Intense by Guerlain, which is a really amazing fragrance with both note of leather and tobacco, which really helps it to be there as #1 brown fragrance. I think other fragrance could easily go in that category, but this one is really great and is, I would say, most brown fragrance of the brown fragrance, if that's actually a category. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If it's the case, well, like and share. And if you have a different idea of different colors that I think another fragrance belongs there as the best fragrance from that color, write it in the comment. So thanks for watching and see you soon.